we're looking forward to having a little conversation with you today and reliving some history. But in doing so, if you have a chance, check over to our website. We've got some new merchandise available. It kind of blew me away. I walked in the showroom the other day, and we've got some new racking there. There's a whole bunch of new shirts and fun stuff. And so go check it out. I've actually got the 35th anniversary T-shirt on today, and it's pretty cool. The rainbow stripes. One of the guys we're going to be talking to today helped us earn some rainbow stripes. Oh, there's Tim now. But a little different discipline, but still the same meaning. So fun stuff. Still a few folks that we've got to get online. And but man, I cannot tell you how fired up I am. I barely slept last night because I was thinking about this conversation coming up. And a couple of you guys that we'll be with, I haven't spoken to in way too long. So it's going to be good to catch up. I know we're going to run out of time, so I may change the order and how we're going to go through things so that the guys that have got time constraints can move on and we'll just carry on and somebody will probably have to put a hook around my neck and shut this thing down. But anyway, we're really looking forward to the chat we're going to have today. It's pretty special, and yeah, we just don't do this stuff often enough. So we're gonna take a few minutes here, set awkwardly silent, and get everybody on. Tim, good to see you, man. Oh, cool. We're gonna figure out our audio on this end. I think you're. All right, give me a test audio, Tim. No, we're still not there. Man, technology's great, isn't it? We've got Sarah here working bugs out on our end.
They can't hear him either.
Yeah, double check, make sure you're not muted. Yeah, I think we're struggling a little bit. Oh, he's popping. You can hear me? Okay, cool. We'll continue to work it out on this end, and we'll. Curbeau. Matt froze up on us. Matt, how you doing this afternoon or more? So you're Eastern time with me, aren't you? Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Perfect.
There, I put a little mic in, so maybe that's better.
Okay. Yeah, it fixed it.
Great.
And we just had Matt in. There's Matt.
It worked.
How you doing?
What's up, Brad? Hey, Tim.
Awesome. And we're just
Hey.
Steve. We'll get Steve in here. We'll get this party started. And I was just saying, I could not sleep thinking about this conversation last night. I got so excited. I was so fired up. I had a lot of mowing to do and came in and was a little bit excited. I don't know. I don't super get excited about mowing, but I don't know. It's just been so on my mind, and I was asking if I could call you guys individually since Monday, and like, no, keep it fresh, keep it real and authentic. And I was like, oh man, but I would love to catch up. It may add something there. And no, you will go way too long if you build new things to talk about. So anyway, we'll have a good time with it, and then we'll get to catch up afterwards, hopefully as well.
Sounds
Well,
good.
I know you're excited because Tim's here, not me. Tim's the one with Tim's the one with the accolades. I'm just the schmuck here hanging out.
It's funny you say that, Matt, because I was kind of jotting some down and whatnot, and it's there's so much more that we just need to have a full session with you, because you are so dynamic, man. I'm not sure you know how loved and appreciated you are for how you interact and how you are with the family, and it just goes without saying, but we need to refresh that.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So it looks like Steve's not able to jump in with us, and well, if he can pop in, that'll be great. But I'd like to just kind of start off a little bit of history. And specifically about Steve. It was mid-'80s. My first pair of cycling shoes were going to be home. They were going to land when I got off the school bus that day. And I remember that day getting off the school bus, getting cleats mounted, my first pair of cycling shoes on, and going for that first ride. And mentally, Steve is the guy that was chasing me. He was the guy that I had to stay on pace with. He was my absolute hero. And that first ride in cycling shoes, I had a lot of rides with Steve, in my mind. But they started off in soccer shoes. And when I got those first cycling shoes, man, I was so fired up, because it was just, I was now truly a cyclist. And I was really living, trying to emulate my hero, Steve Hegg. And so that was just a really special time. I was thinking about, holy cow, I got to work with him. I got to spend time with him. But what led up to that was, when I started here with Litespeed, it was super early, and titanium wasn't cool. I mean, it just wasn't a pro level material. It had some real stigmas because of the very early titanium bikes had been built with unalloyed titanium. There was just like some industrial pipe kind of things, and the ride quality wasn't tuned at all. It was just kind of like building something out of a different material, and they didn't work out so well. And when companies like us and Merlin and others, started building legitimate, high quality titanium bicycle frames, it took a while for all of us to overcome those stigmas. And we were super fortunate because we were a contract builder. We didn't build just the Litespeed brand, and through our contract building, we got to test with some folks that were doing some pretty good R&D at the time. You got to think. Road teams today, like Ineos, they've got these huge budgets and they're out exploring cool technologies. And fortunately, Lamond was one of those guys who explored a lot. He explored to the point that he had gone out and bought, or I say bought, maybe I'm wrong, but he was working with Calfee, and it was called Carbon Frames at the time. And we were making the titanium dropouts and threaded bottom bracket inserts and bits and pieces of those carbon frames. And so Greg was sending to us a range of different carbon layups that we would test here and test the stiffness and so forth. And we sent him, titanium frame. What do you think about this? And next thing you know, we're building team frames, road frames. It was just so exciting for me personally, because here's this 20-year-old kid that's just fired up about this, getting to work with a living legend. And we went through this exercise, and from that experience, the material began to legitimize a little bit more. And we had these specialists, these climbing specialists and time trial specialists that started reaching out to us looking for custom frames. And I was the point person on those, and it was so much fun. I was just, I get excited talking about it today, and here I sit with you two guys, I'm about to go crazy. But the fun thing was with the Chevrolet LA Sheriffs, that was the team that Steve rode on, and they were our first Litespeed branded pro team. And that we had worked with many professionals in triathlon and road and some mountain bikers and even Bob Roll was racing. This is a great thing. Bob Roll was racing a Le Mans mountain bike that we built. And, Dave Weens was on, he's out tearing it up at a world level. John Tomac was riding carbon, titanium, and titanium frames that weren't branded Litespeed. And so we were having a great time developing cool bikes with other brands and so forth. But it's when Steve's team came along that we started showing up on the front page of Velo News. And wow, what that guy and his teammates accomplished. Well, it really put Litespeed on a new map. We were on a map, but it was a totally different map. He brought us mainstream and was winning. It was the cool thing about Steve. I loved his previous accolades. He's multi-time Olympian and he's got gold and silver medals and just an amazing athlete. But that he came along and won a U.S. Pro road and time trial national championship on Litespeeds, and so that was super special to me and the brand especially. We were on a whole new plane, a whole new level, and it really helped legitimize not just the material but the brand and so many things that I can just go on and on and on about. But Steve was one of those guys that I was looking back through drawings and different projects that we got to work on, and holy cow, I really kind of lost track of how many bikes we've done together. So really, really cool. So hopefully he'll pop in and we'll get some of his speak on moving from the team bikes that they had been on. They were steel road bikes and very high quality hand-built custom bikes that the team was riding onto the titanium. Many of his teammates we got to interact with very closely, and super, super special. That the feedback that we got from those guys, and positive and negative, and how that really helped continue to shape and transform our ability to make cycling specific titanium tube sets. That's where we really began to differentiate from our competition and create some new and special things. So I can't speak on Steve's behalf, but I did want to share that with you guys about the evolution as to how I feel professional athletes made Litespeed relevant early on. And then we got to continue to work with folks of you guys' caliber. Kind of keeping it chronological. I'll do a quick introduction of you guys. Tim DeBoom, wow, thanks for being with us. Two-time Ironman world champion. You're a Hall of Famer. You've won my favorite races. Man, oh man, it's the Norseman. We're just gonna have to talk line about that.
That's one of my prouder wins was Norseman.
Wow.
It's and one of my favorite races probably my favorite race ever done.
Man, you're a tenacious racer. And I say that among all racers. You are a racer of all racers. You're so tenacious. You're very calculated. You seem really cool in doing what you're doing, but you're cutting throats out there. You're a vicious competitor. You traveled the world hunting down your competition to raise your game and be a world champion, two-time world champion. And So well, let's hang on a minute. Steve jumped in with us. Let's come back. Let's come back to you, Tim. Everybody
Great.
on with us. You've heard my spiel about Steve Hegg being my teenage hero, the guy that in my mind was propelling me along and pushing me to go faster in my first pair of cycling shoes. But Steve, it looks like we're having a little bit of a connection issue still. Oh, come on, technology.
He's stuck in transition.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Let's go back. We'll bring Steve in just a minute. So Tim, I want to hear from your perspective. You were coming through. We were coming out of a different era as you came on to Litespeed. What had you been racing up to that point?
Well, I had been with like the U.S. national team, and we were on GT, and so
that was a high tech bike.
So, yeah, we were on the that super big framed aero bike, and it was great, but it didn't ride like it wasn't that comfortable,
Right.
And for my road bike though, I was on the Zaskar titanium bike.
Yeah.
And so I had a feel for what titanium could feel like to an extent. And that was the bike I always kind of gravitated towards to train on all the time until, and then when I joined the RLX team, that was when Litespeed came under me.
Right.
And all of a sudden my results all got great. It was a progression of third, second, and first in Hawaii after I joined Litespeed. So
that's amazing. Holy cow. I think back, and that was just, I mean, wow, the timing, we look back in history, the timing couldn't have been better. And your accomplishment and how you got it from a fan's perspective was just heroic. And it's I hope people will go back and relive some of the material that shows what your true accomplishments were, because they, if media had been then what it is now,
it's taken me a while to go back and appreciate some of my results, but I'm able to now, and now that I have a daughter, she's starting to understand a little bit, and that's kind of cool.
Perspective's everything. Wow. So from a bike standpoint, what were the things that you looked for? Even whether it be in the bike, the material, your ideas in how a bike should work, or even down to the setup, the race prep. Give us a snapshot of your perspective of what the bike could do for you.
Well, everything was fit, and so the fact that you guys made me custom frames built for me. Made out of material that was comfortable, and over 112 miles in an Ironman, comfort is everything. You're trying to save every ounce of energy, and every bump that you hit on the road, it's going through the tires, the wheels, the fork, and then to you. And anything to damp that down without losing stiffness or, quality of ride is, makes it the perfect world out there. And for me, it was like, when I showed up on my Litespeed at Kona in 2001, the year I won, there's no better, psych job than when your competitors come up and say, that's a sweet bike, so that was the one thing that was like pushing me over the edge of how good I felt out there when I was on the bike.
Right. Yeah, it's wild for me because, fit systems, the measurement methods have changed. We're very electronic in our measurement today. However, fit hasn't really changed that much. What's truly changed is the adjustability of the components.
Yep.
You look at a given bar system now, and you've got 8.5 centimeters of stack adjustability. Reach adjustability goes from 230 to 330. It's massive windows of adjustability, had we had that back in the 90s, one, we wouldn't have created so many custom designs.
Right.
And so, because, there was really, if you're riding a road bike, you typically rode an offset durace or a seat post, which was 20 millimeters to the rear. And I was, working seat tube angles, knowing what seat post was going to be in the bike.
Yep.
And saddle rails were much shorter. So the custom requirement was huge at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
The components are so different, and custom isn't so necessary. It's very often, but it's a smaller percentage of the time we get to go through what we have gone through in those bikes of the 90s.
Yeah.
But I was able to, Steve Head and I, now you have a past with John Cobb, is that right?
Yeah, you and John kind of designed. I still have the original drawings and the original prints what you guys were sending me to sign off on. I was like, that's it. That's what I want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
John and I worked with a range of athletes, and Steve Head, HED, the Head wheels. We worked more so on hardware, and Steve was going to the wind tunnel and helping me understand what tube shapes are working great. John had some input on the hardware side. He was probably working with more athletes. Usually, at least within our shop. And so I really cherish those times. I look back with experiences I had with Steve. I'm gonna rabbit trail if you guys don't catch me here, but those days, absolute gold, and how that evolved into the bikes of today on course is really cool. But I had a chance to baseline some of those older bikes. We were doing a test with George Hincapie, Bart Grausch, and Bart was a German road time trial world champion. So Steve was bringing George and Bart. I was bringing a whole bunch of bikes. We were testing some of their equipment. They were riding for High Road, sponsored by Giant at the time, like these 65 millimeter bi-brake shell bikes and crazy stuff. I brought some of those old bikes and like an old Sabre, an old Blade, and was able to strip everything down, get all the variables out, athlete off, and just measure how effective, how efficient the bikes were of the 90s. And it was such a cool test. And you would have, I was absolutely amazed at how good our bikes were at that point in time. And
I bet.
Wherewithal to gather that data and promote that data as we do today. It would have clearly helped you guys as athletes to either meter the effort or just throw down. And that's, that was the beauty of what you accomplished, seeing you out there with those initial Uber bikers. And boy, were they, wow.
Yeah.
And that's pretty special to me.
How tiny were the tires you were putting in there?
Oh, we were on 19s.
I've never ridden a 19.
Pumped up to 100, 150, 160 PSI,
Well, that's why you needed titanium.
Exactly. Well, the road in Kona is pretty darn smooth. It always has been. It's as close as a, velodrome type material you're going to get to, but everywhere else it was brutal.
Cool. So real quick, I know, Matt, you're on a time constraint, and we're talking Kona. So real quick, I met you, Matt, in Kona. Do you remember this?
I don't know which time you're talking about, but probably.
So we were at the QT2 house. I just walked in.
Uh-huh.
I was there just making sure Kate's bike was good and Kate Snow and everything was in order. If there was anything I could do, and I actually did have to sprint from the house to go.
Unsurprised.
It was a great week, but right there when I walked in that house, I was introduced to you. Here's this young guy standing there eating cereal straight out of the box. I got my hand and got a few cornflakes out of it,
Yep.
And long after that, you know, we were bumping into each other at training camps in Florida. You had, you had a really, really good pro career, and you were out there shaking it up. I always loved it at training camp because you were that guy that set the pace. And so
well, I like the bike. I like the bike the best, and I figured that out down there.
Yeah, and so you're calling me not long after that, and you're probably the fastest guy in USA cycling history to go from Cat 5 to pro, and so you're the modern era, man. You are you're our guiding light. You know, you're our inspiration.
Yeah,
You're so diversified. Yeah,
yeah, diversified, and I would just say master of none. You know, kind of mediocre at everything. But
you're the guy who's in a strange way. You've gone through frame materials, but you've gone from carbon, you know, aluminum, carbon, now to titanium.
Yep.
What can you share with us just in that?
Yeah, well, the most applicable now is racing all these gravel events, right? And so you're going out on all kinds of carbon stuff because you want lightweight, and you think that that's the name of the game, and because that's what they teach you in the road and everything like that. But I mean, I had my firsthand experience taking that, you know, into Unbound this year, and you know, throwing that onto those roads, and you know, I got 100 miles of hard effort in there, and you know, it's a game changer compared to what you feel like hitting all those ruts, all that stuff. It just soaks it up. And I honestly, all my training before that was on the road, and it's the smoothest thing I've been on. I mean, you could totally tell the difference between when you're riding a carbon piece of machinery versus a titanium. It's pretty cool. And I hadn't experienced that, so this is pretty fresh and pretty new on the body right now.
Yeah. Have you actually thrown a good set of road wheels on that gravel bike and put road miles on it in that way? Give us a little taste of that.
Yeah, that was predominantly what I was doing all through March and April to get ready to go down there. There's not a ton of gravel nearby outside of Boston, so I was just trying to take it on long rides and put miles on it. But no, it's as quick as anything. Like I said, it's not as light or weight as a weight weenie bike if you're going to go climb a ton of mountains. But I don't live in Europe, so I'm just fine. But it's smooth. This is the smoothest ride I've been on.
Cool. Any issues that you've had in the past with durability? You know, like rock slinging or just surviving truck and things like that. You know, you sometimes take for granted. You know, we have those mechanicals or just the environment in general. What's some of your experience there? Yeah,
well, it's nice because your bike doesn't look like it's been through World War III after you get out of Kansas. I had another brand, you know, in 2019, and it was the first, you know, I hadn't taken it on too many big rides on gravel yet. So, the frame was clean. There was no dings. It was looking pretty. And 200 miles on that, and it came by, and like I wasn't going to be able to resell it after that. You've got chips everywhere. It's dinged up. You're still riding fine, but it's dinged up. The benefit of titanium is it can kind of take a beating and look just fine. You know, there's not much wear and tear that's going to show on it, and I think it takes up all the miles that you put on it really easily.
Yeah. For those of us that still like bare metal finishes, you grab a piece of Scotch Brite from the hardware store, you can go back to brand new finish, you know, without taking it to a paint shop, you know.
Yeah, it's a legit thing for us everyman that, you know, you're not going to get a new bike every time you mess it up. So have something that you can take out for years and years is pretty cool. I think like that's what a lot of the guys around my area that get titanium. There's, you know, I think titanium is in a craze at the moment with all the hand built and all that kind of stuff, right? It's the bike that you buy that you're going to have for the next 5, 10, forever. So you buy it because it's comfortable, it's going to last you, you're not going to ding it up, that kind of thing.
Right. Cool. Well, guys, anything either of you want to add to our 35th anniversary and doing what we're doing?
Just keep it up. Keep it up. I'm in his boat now where I'm getting older, and the carbon bikes kind of feel like plastic these days, and I want something that's resilient underneath me and ready to just take a beating for the next 10 years and not have to think about it. And that's I think everybody's going to get to that point eventually. It's not a disposable bike like most of them out there anymore. So it's kind of nice to work with what really works, tried and true.
Very cool. Yeah. Going back, that stigma that we were trying to overcome so many years ago, before professionals like yourselves helped us legitimize the material, was that people didn't feel like it had the power transfer. And, I so wish Steve hadn't had the connection issues, but he was the epitome of proving, we'd see Steve on the pages of Ellen News, just like veins coming out of his neck, full on ripping. And it was, just a quick snippet from each of you guys on the subject of power transfer, because we kind of gone full circle. And the idea and the stigma is that titanium doesn't have the power transfer of other materials. And what would you say to that?
I don't think that's true at all. I mean, there's a difference in, your power is going through the wheels and the pedals first. And I think, look at all the bikes now that are being built with little suspension systems built into them. Even road bikes, they're building in this stuff. And with titanium, you don't, it's built into the frame. You don't need the gimmicks to make it feel stiff, but yet lively. And, to me, that's the beauty of the material.
Cool. Matt, anything on power?
I'm not smart enough to know any science behind it, but it feels good.
You're not.
I like, the biggest thing that I like with the bike that I have right now is the threaded bottom bracket, just for, how it feels overall, the maintenance of it, just everything about threaded. I actually have it on a road bike of mine too. And, no surprise, I got in this game in the summer of 2009. So I didn't have a threaded bottom bracket until this year. So it's like a game changer for me in terms of upkeep and just how it feels on the road. It spins so clean. We have a Chris King bottom bracket in there right now. So, that's what I'm noticing a lot. It's just because it's new for me.
Yeah, it is a lot better feeling to be able to service your bike without using a hammer on it.
Yeah.
That's mandatory. You got to be able to work on the bike yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, being able to extract that bottom bracket with proper tools rather than a hammer,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a great point. Great point. Well, guys, I really, really appreciate your time. I know it's so valuable, but we wanted to tip our hats. Thank you for your contributions, and it means so much to us. And let's we are always open to hear your advice and your comment input.
Congratulations to you guys. 35 years. That's awesome in the bike industry.
Seems like a week.
Yep.
It's just flown by. So
yeah.
When's the official birthday? Because I'm 35 too. I just turned it.
Yeah.
You're a baby.
Yeah, we were a fab
I don't
shop.
feel it.
Yeah, it's fun. No opening day because we were an existing fabrication shop.
Okay.
And the bicycle came from that. So there wasn't like a day that official birthday, but
I'm going to make it May 28th just in my head so it all levels out. Yeah. I got something funny for Tim. You Zwift, I think, has killed the Ironman videos, because getting into triathlon in 2010, all I had for like 4, 5, 6 years every winter staring at a wall was all the old Ironman from basically.
That's what
whatever
everybody
YouTube
told
had.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's like a bunch of us, probably 30 to 40-year-olds, that know every single race, every single step, because we watched those things a billion times in a row. And it was always,
Yeah.
you started out on the weird DVDs that your buddy had that got you into cycling, and then
No, they
you
started
figured
on
out it's
VHS.
YouTube. Not for me.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. You can't
that
find
was
them.
my introduction.
I was trying to find them to show my daughter some of the footage, and I can't even find them anymore. It's funny. There's no video footage of old Ironmans out there anymore.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Yep, they were. That's good memories for sure.
Awesome stuff. Well, guys, thanks again, and we just really appreciate all your contributions.
Oh, thank you, Brad.
All right.
Yep, thanks, Brad. It's great to talk to you guys.
Hey,
Definitely.
all right.
All right, take care.
Cheers.
See you.
Cheers.